Hi everyone and welcome to Homerino Collectibles, where today I'm going to be bringing you a review of the Marvel Legends Infinite Series Agent Venom from the Amazing Spider-Man 2 wave. So at the moment the only way to get this is from Walgreens in the US or somewhere like eBay, and that's where I got mine from for a very good price because I saw it as soon as it went up from this particular seller and it was a great price, so I'm just very lucky that I got it and I was on eBay when I was. So my advice to you is just keep your eyes on eBay if you are not in the US, or if you're in the US and you don't have a Walgreens or something, and just keep your eyes out for one with a great price, because they are getting sold for crazy prices out there, but don't get ripped off. It is a great figure, but you don't have to pay crazy prices for it, so yeah, just keep your eyes peeled and I'm sure you'll be able to get one for yourself. We get this symbol on the top of the box. On the side of the box we have the same Spider-Man as the rest of the wave, and then over here on the back here is the rest of the wave, and here's all the people that you need to build your Green Goblin. As I said, this does not come with a Build-A-Figure, and he's also not shown on this box. And then over here we can see the little bio there if you want to go ahead and read it, take a look, and a really nice picture. So that bio is pretty much all they need to say for this figure, so I'm happy with that. So without further ado, let's get this thing open. So before we get into Agent Venom himself, let's take a look at his accessories, and he comes with 4 weapons. The first one being what looks like a USP, and it has an awesome laser sight there on the bottom, some nice paint tap for that. But as for the rest of the gun, great molded detail, but obviously no other paint tap, but still looks pretty fantastic, very nice. And then we have a silver MP5, which the mold is very nice. I believe it will be the same mold as the one that came with the Punisher that I have, and that one was black. So the only thing that I don't like about these 3 silver weapons is the fact that they're silver. He's Agent Venom. He tends to use black weapons. You know, they're army weapons, they're government weapons and whatnot. They tend to be black anyway, and I just do think that they would have looked better in black for this figure, especially as I've never seen a silver Glock, so there you go. But yeah, so you get 2 of those silver guns right there, and then we also have his tendrils, which can plug into his back and hold all of his weapons, which I will show you in a second. But before I do, I just want to say there's no storage for any of these weapons on this figure. He has a gun on the side in the holster there that is not removable. It looks great, it's got some great paint up there, but it's not removable. Now, I'm okay when things like this happen, when you still can get some more storage out of the figure, and as long as they do come with more weapons, that's great. So, with this one we don't get storage, but I'm perfectly fine with that, because if I can take your attention over to the book, which I have right here, which is Venom, and if we open this, this is volume 1 to 5 of Agent Venom. So here you can see he stores the guns basically inside, so he'll put them on the inside of his costume sort of thing, so he'll put them in his own trousers that's underneath the symbiote suit. So that makes me think I don't really care about it, because obviously if he's storing weapons like that, they're not going to be on the outside, are they? So I don't really care too much about that. As you can see, he does have the 1 holster there, so it would have been nice if we could have at least stored one of these silver guns, or this gun right here, in the side holster, instead of it being a non-removable weapon. However, for the most part, I don't really care too much, because as you can see, everything is underneath the symbiote suit anyway, so that's not too much of a problem. Whilst I've got the book out here, I'm just going to show you a couple of things. I do wish, he uses this gun quite a lot in this book, so I do wish that he had come with this instead of the MP5. And another thing is that on the bottom of his feet right here, you can see that he has some awesome detail there on the inside of his boot, and then here we don't get it. So normally we have really awesome detail on the underside of the feet for like Iron Man figures and whatnot. There's often really nice boot treads and whatnot, you know, they've done great with the outside of it, but I think that on a lot of figures, when you see a lot of awesome boot detail on the underneath, and you're like, well, they didn't really need to do that, but they have done. I think that this is really a figure that they needed to do it, and they haven't. That's one of my complaints, really. It's not much of a complaint, because you're never going to see it, really, but it would have been awesome to have gotten that design on the underside of the feet. But for the most part, this figure is better than the Marvel Select figure, in my opinion, if you were going to get one or the other. Obviously, for most people, the Select figure might be easier to obtain. And for a lot of people, this figure might be easier to obtain. But let's say, for instance, that you can get both of them. I'm going to tell you why I think that you should get this one instead of the Marvel Select one throughout this review. And here is Agent Venom with all of his accessories on him at once. Now, the fantastic thing about this character is that you can use all your other weapons from, the Punisher, or from Mystique, or from whoever you've got that have come with weapons with Marvel Legends, and you can put whatever you want on these tendrils. So it does actually hold all of his weapons. So although you don't get weapon storage, if you store him with this, you can actually still have him carry them all at once. Now, if he had no weapon storage and he came with all these weapons and not this, obviously then you'd have some weapons lying around that might be annoying for some people. But the fantastic thing about these, as you can see, they hold them very, very well, very securely, and you can just plug it into the hole in his back, so you can have it this way up, or you can have it this way up, and it'll hold the weapons whichever way you want, and it honestly looks absolutely fantastic. It has a nice kind of texture to it on the inside right there. If you just go over that, very, very nice. And then, as you can see, they all resemble kind of hands there, so they can all grip the weapons very, very well, and put the kind of tendril fingers over the triggers and everything. So looks absolutely phenomenal. And then obviously he can hold every single one of them. I really like him with just this gun though, because it's kind of his signature gun for me, really, for this. So getting into this suit, it's really, really well done the way that they've executed this. Basically, they have actually put this extra piece over the body mold, so that it is actually, he's actually wearing the body armor. It isn't just a sculpt; it is a flexible rubber piece that you can detach. It does slightly hinder some articulation, so you can't really get him into like crazy Spider-Man-esque kind of poses, because it does limit the ab crunch, so he can only move a bit. He can move very good back, but forwards is kind of limited unless you undo it, and then you can lift the edge over the belt, and then he can do the full ab crunch. But I wouldn't recommend doing that for like prolonged poses. These bits over here, they're not like the Ultron, who had ones that kind of lifted up and stayed there. These aren't actually articulated, they're just on a flexible rubber piece, so they will move up out the way, but then they will just flop back down. So something that a lot of people have been complaining about really is just the paint, and I do understand that seeing little bits of black come through the paint on the armor there, it's not desirable really from a figure like this. I mean, as you can see, this is far more brighter white on the back than it is on the front, but that doesn't matter to me, because I see Agent Venom as being this guy that's, he's effectively being sent into war zones all the time and whatnot. He's going to get a bit beaten up, and that's what that kind of looks like to me. It looks like it's kind of body armor that's been, beaten up a little bit. I know that it's obviously the symbiote, so it wouldn't have any discrepancies in it, it would just be pure white over there, but that doesn't really matter, and I think that with the texture that it is, because it's not just completely smooth, you should be able to see that on the camera there, all the little lumps and bumps and whatnot. I think that it just looks really, really good along with that. I really do like it. And another thing that this does better than the Select version is that this under part of the shoulder bar there, on the Select version, I think that's just a grey, and that's black and then that's grey. Whereas on this they do it right, because that is actually supposed to be white, so they have actually got more accurate paint on this. Another reason that the Marvel Select figure is better than this one is just that on these arms here on the side, and basically in this section of the leg that's inside this white line right here, should have a kind of rib texture. And that doesn't, it's not too bad. It's really something really, really minor. It would have been really small on the arms, and on the side there you've got the pouches and whatnot that cover it, so I'm perfectly fine with that. Apart from that, really, the two figures, it's just which one do you want. The other one's slightly bigger. This one, I think the proportions do look a little bit better. Like, he's a bit more bulky in the body armor than the Select one, which this is actually more accurate in that sense. That one, especially when I saw it on Glenn Webb's review, just like some people commented as well, it does actually look a bit skinny in comparison to this one, even though it's, you know, the bigger scaled figure. So those are the reasons why I think that this one is better than the Marvel Select one. So you can go ahead and decide which one you want out of those. So carrying on looking at this particular figure anyway, this belt is actually reused from the Ultimate Captain America, which I think it works really, really well. So you've got a knife and you've got some grenades and a water canister and a pouch and whatnot. Looks very nice. And then if we take a closer look at the head, I really do like this sculpt. You can see there's some awesome lines just between the eyes there. And then we've got a really, really nice sculpted nose and mouth area. The eyes are painted pretty well in comparison to some that I've seen that have been pretty horrendous, and they look really, really off towards one another. We have a really nice sculpted ear in there too. It's a very, very nice head sculpt to use for any Spider-Man custom, really, if you want to do something with it. I like how the inside of the eye is actually sculpted round. They haven't just sculpted the white area around it, they have actually sculpted that there too, as you can see there sticking out, so that really gives it some depth and some character, which I really like. All across the shoulder belts and everything, it reminds me of like a scorpion, you know, with like the tiny little spikes that's on its back and whatnot, and that kind of rough areas. That's also down here on the forearms and on the shins and knee pads. It looks really, really good. There is no kind of like shading or anything in there with like I think it could have done with maybe like a grey wash, just so that it highlights some of these areas, because there's so much nice molded in detail that to make him look kind of more worn and beaten up, you could do it yourself anyway, but because it's not much, you know, just a little bit of a wash just to really bring out all of that detail. Not that it isn't already all really brought out, but I really do think that something like that would have just pushed it that extra mile and made it so much more more desirable than the select version of this figure. So let's get straight into articulation now. So the head moves up, down, left and right, is not hindered whatsoever by all of this armour around his head, which is fantastic, which I also think is more accurately sculpted than the select version. The arms are not hindered by the shoulder bells there, so they go up and down in a full 360, so very nice there. We have a rotation at the bicep, double jointed elbows, and then unfortunately it is just a rotation here at the forearm, which rotates with the wrist too, so you don't get any in and out with the hand or up and down. It would have been nice, it's not needed, but it just would have been nice to have an extra bit of articulation there, like we've been getting used to with most Marvel Legends figures. So, as I said, the ab crunch, it does go forward and back, slightly hindered by this. The legs are on the joints that I don't really like. You can call them Y joints or ball, swivel things. So you take it forward like that, and then you kind of swivel it round and bring it to the out. I just wish that you could just do that, you know. This one's a little bit more stiff at moving the ball on the inside. I just don't really like that kind of articulation, to be honest. But they do hold, so once you get it into a position, it will hold a lot better over time than just the joint that you could just move. But anyway, it has a double jointed knee, and then the foot articulation slightly hindered with the up movement, but moves down very well, and then it does have a very nice ankle pivot and holes in the bottom of the feet. However, like I said, I really would like that detail at the bottom of the feet. So as a size comparison here, we have him standing next to Spider-Girl and next to Spider-Man from the same line, so they look absolutely fantastic. I really like that Flash Thompson is taller than Peter Parker here. I think that looks fantastic. I think that something like this, obviously this paint job is done so well. It should have been like that on that. Obviously not kind of like shiny pearlescent kind of paint, but I think that's what it should have been like, you know, really nice and done. But I actually prefer it like this because obviously, like I said, it gives it more of that kind of worn, battle ready kind of look. But yeah, absolutely incredible figure. You should definitely pick this up if you see it. Walgreens, like I said, is the one place in the US where you can pick it up right now. It is an exclusive, and just don't pay too much for it on eBay. But I gotta say that there's not much wrong with this figure whatsoever, and if you like the character, then this is absolutely the best version out there in my eyes. If you like the Marvel Select version better, go ahead and get that if you still can, but I definitely think that this one is the better version. So thanks for watching the review, guys. If you like this one more than the Marvel Select version, or maybe you want to tell me why the Marvel Select version is better than this one, go ahead and tell me in the comments below. And go ahead and leave a like if you do actually like this video, that will be much appreciated. And subscribe for more Marvel Legends reviews. So thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you next time.